Hi, everyone. Good morning or good evening, whatever time zone you're in. So welcome to our workshop, A Beginner's Guide to FDM 3D Printing. And I'm Frankie, and joining me is Christine.
Yeah, hi.
So we're from the ELEGOO brand team, and together we'll be walking you through today's session. So by the time we wrap up, you will have a basic understanding of what FDM is and how to use our Centauri Carbon. And before we dive into the workshop, let's quickly, go through the checklist. Perhaps, you've already seen that in the WhatsApp group. Let me share the screen now. Yeah, so here's the checklist. So make sure your printer, filaments, and accessories are on hand, and the remaining items should be prepared before you actually start the printing. So now let's get started.
Let's take a quick look at what we'll be covering in today's workshop. Here is our table of contents. We will guide you through the essentials of FDM 3D printing, introduce you to ELEGOO's range of FDM printers. After that, we will walk you through the unboxing process and explore where to find the models and the software used to operate the printer. Finally, we'll guide you through your first print and demonstrate how to replace filament when needed. And we will share the slides with you after the workshop.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands after we finish the workshop, or share your questions in the WhatsApp chat group. Great. So first question. So let's start with the basics. What is an FDM 3D printer? So FDM, or fused deposition modeling, is a 3D printing technology. So, it's a technology that works by melting plastic filaments and building objects layer by layer. And for consumer grade FDM 3D printers, they are affordable and easy to use, and they're compatible with materials like PLA, TPU, BTG, and etc. So you can see from the slides, the printer extrude the melted filament through a heated nozzle, and then extruding it layer by layer to create the final project. And for a separate workshop, we'll also cover the LCD or resin 3D printing. This is a process that uses UV light to cure the liquid resin layer by layer. Objects will be like in highly detail, so we'll cover that in a separate workshop. And for this workshop, we'll focus on the FDM.
Thank you, Frankie. And ELEGOO offers a range of FDM printers designed to meet the needs of both beginners and the experienced users. The lineup includes both I3 structured and the CoSY structured machines, providing options for different printing needs. Here is an example of I3 structured Neptune line, including the Neptune 4 Plus, Neptune 4 Pro, and the Neptune 4. Frankie, do you know the difference between these machines?
Yeah, like you can see on the slide. So as the name suggests, Plus names big, and Pro means it has professional features. And more specifically, it has an intelligent segmented heated bed feature. So it means that you can only heat a certain part of the bed. So when you're printing small objects, it saves energy. And also we have the Neptune 4 Max. It's not shown on the slide, but it's the largest Neptune printer we have. And of course, Neptune 4 is the basic version of the Neptune series. Right. So after, we talk about the Neptune series, actually today's focus is on Centauri Carbon. And why? Because, the i3, just Christine mentioned, also the CoXY printer, they represent two main different types of the FDM 3D printing technologies. So the Centauri Carbon you have, or you will receive, is a CoXY FDM printer, and it's different from the traditional Cartesian style 3D printers like, the Neptune series here. You can see they're like totally different, although they use the same technology. About the difference is simply like this. So traditional Cartesian printers, they have a print bed, like moves back and forth. So you can see like this, they can move back and forth. So which means it can cause vibrations and, it's vibrates and slings like that. And this is why like Cartesian printers, they are often called bed slingers. Is kind of, you get the image. And for CoXY printers, they're different. The print bed that moves on the z-axis, like vertically up and down. So in simple terms, CoXY designs enables higher printing space, better print quality, and that's why we highlight the Centauri Carbon today. And like if you have questions when using the Neptune series, I know some of you may get the Neptune series because some like custom clearance issues, but just let us know, and which we will get you covered if you have the questions. Yep.
Now let's talk about why the Centauri Carbon stands out an excellent choice, especially for beginners. The Centauri Carbon is affordable without sacrificing quality. It's ready to use straight out the box. No complicated setup needed. The enclosed chamber improves the heat retention, allow it to print not only common materials like PLA, also higher temperature materials like ABS. With easy auto leveling and the advanced sensors, it is reliable, budget-friendly, and also beginner-friendly choices for 3D printing. Now that we have covered ELEGOO's FDM printer lineup, let's move on to the unboxing and the structural introduction of the Centauri Carbon.
And perhaps you may also already check the list, and we shared video already, but we can still take a look at the video. So you can see from the video, printer is neatly packed with all these components. So unlike the i3 style printers, you need to, assemble everything, the gantry and everything. But for Centauri Carbon, you don't need it. You don't need to. And for the full unboxing video, you can check out our YouTube channel. And there's a video called Unboxing Centauri Carbon. The setup is simple and intuitive. You can just follow the step-by-step instructions on the touchscreen. And you will be ready to go. By the way, we have like a small kind of suggestion. You may have a question like where to put my printer. Recommend placing the printer in a well-ventilated area, such as the living room rather than the bedroom, because the fan can be kind of noisy or loud, and also melting plastics may produce some smells. Let's now dive into the structural parts.
Yes, so the printer has a few key parts that work together to make great prints. We won't get too technical, just the basics to help you get the print down. There are 3 motors to move the print head left, right, and forward, and the back X, Y axis, and one moves the print bed up and down. Linear shafts and the lead screws functions like trim rails, guiding the print head and the print bed as they move in specific directions. Belts are responsible for controlling the movement of the print head.
So next we have the heated bed, and on top is there's a double-sided epoxy. It's a type of resin, and also the PEI is a thermoplastic sheet. So it's double-sided. And for the heated bed, in 3D printing, a heated bed is like using a warm surface to keep your print from warping or lifting off the bed. It helps the first layer stick better and ensures each new layer bonds well with the one below, and making the final print stronger and smoother. So different materials need different temperatures to print properly. So heating allows you to use a variety of filaments like PLA, TPU, or PETG, etc. And without heating, the prints might curl, crack, or fail to stick. So heat bed is a very key part of getting good results. And for the double-sided build plate, it also helps prevent warping during the printing and makes it easy to remove the models once printing is complete. So for Centauri Carbon, we can show it, right?
Yes, we can take it.
So it's size A, and we have a set textured PEI plate, adhesion 3 stars. This is side A. And for the other side is side B. It says PLA specific, as the name suggests. You use this part for PLA only. And adhesion is 5 stars. Why is that? Because this has a epoxy resin coat. You use 2 sides to print different materials. So the PEI side, they offer moderate adhesion and excellent compatibility, while this other side is for PLA. And it's also called low temperature plates or something like that, because for PLA, you can print like at low temperature as 30 degrees Celsius.
The extruder is responsible for melting and extruding the filament. Unlike Bolton system, the Centauri Carbon features a direct drive extruder, which provides better control and precision, especially for flexible materials. Inside the extruder, the hot end and the nozzle can reach temperatures of up to 320 degrees, enabling you to print with a wide range of materials. The gearbox handles the extraction or retraction of the filament, while the built-in cutter trims excess filament for a clean and efficient printing process. The model fan helps cool the printed layers, ensure the model retains each shape. Safety tips. The nozzle and the print bed can become extremely hot during printing. To prevent burns, avoid touching them. Always allow the printer to cool down completely before performing any maintenance or adjustments.
Oh, right. So if you have questions, we'll answer them in the Q&A session. You can jot down our questions and then answer them later. So yeah, thanks for the safety tips. I mean, this kind of very important because you need to let them stay away from the kids' path because they can be hot. So next we have the filament detection sensor. So this sensor ensures smooth operation by detecting when the filament runs out. And also we have the touch screen. This is a very intuitive interface for navigation and control. And additionally, we have the additional cooling fan, also helps cool off the models. It's on the back of the machine.
Now let's explore some of the additional features that makes the Centauri Carbon even more convenient and efficient. First, we have the waste chute. This is designed to collect excess filament during purging or cleaning, ensuring the print bed is clean. Next is the silicone nozzle wiper, and this handy tool helps clean the nozzle and remove any leftover filament, ensuring smooth printing. The chamber camera is for you to monitor your prints remotely and capture time-lapse video. Lastly, the built-in lighting illuminates the print area, making it easier to observe details and everything.
So after we have this introduction of the structural parts, so let's talk about the filaments. So Centauri Carbon is compatible with a wide range of filaments and giving you, plenty of options for your 3D printing objects. We've attached, a detailed list for you in the slides for you to review after the workshop. As for this workshop, we won't dive it in like too much because for beginners, we recommend starting with PLA. It's very easy to use, it's reliable and perfect for learning basics. And once you're comfortable, you can explore other materials like TPU or PETG. So for filaments, you can see, we have all kinds of filaments like these, like different colors, etc. You can also check our website. We have loads of different options.
Yeah.
But let's stick to PLA for now. Yeah, these are the lists you can check out later after the workshop.
Now that we are ready to start printing, and you may wonder where to find the 3D models. And here are some great resources to explore, like Thingiverse, Cults, My Mini Factory, MakeWord, and Printables. These platforms offer a wide variety of free and paid models, like all kinds of projects. If you are feeling creative, you can also use CAD tools like Tinkercad to design your own models. Whether you are downloading or designing, there is something for everyone. Let's get started with some beginners-friendly models.
Plus, we can use AI to generate 3D models now. So it will be like getting easier and easier. So now we have the 3D models, and let's move on to the next step. So software operation. We need a slicer for 3D printing. And you may ask, like, what is a slicer? So slicer is a software that takes your 3D model and turns it into step-by-step instructions for the printer. So you can think of it as a recipe. It tells the printer how to build the object layer by layer, like how fast it moves, how hot to get, and how much material to use. So without it, the printer wouldn't know what to do. So we'll start with an STL file and then slice it and then print. And then we'll turn your digital design into a real object. And you can see from the slides, it's kind of give you the visualization of how to turn a STL to a 3D print model.
Centauri Carbon is compatible with two slices, ELEGOO Slicer, which is designed for ELEGOO printers, and Orca Slicer, an open source option. Both are great tools for prepare your 3D models for printing. Once you have imported your 3D model into the slicer, you can preview the print and make any necessary adjustments. After slicing, the software generates a G-code file which contains all the instructions for the printer. To get started, today we will be focusing on the ELEGOO slicer, which is tailored for the Centauri Carbon. Since ELEGOO slicer is based on Orca slicer, switching to Orca later will be easy if you choose to export it.
Yeah, so let's set up the software. So first, you can select your printer and choose ELEGOO Centauri Carbon and your nozzle size, which is 0.4 millimeters by default, and then click to confirm. And next, we pick up pick the type of filament you will print, and basically all are ticked by default here, and we don't need to change anything. And we click finish, and you will be ready to slice the model. And later we'll show you. We'll switch the sharing screen to the slicer. Wait a second, please. So can you guys see the screen? So we now switch to the slicer now.
Yeah. So you can see from the slicer. Let's explore the interface. So there are many settings, but many are by default, and we don't need to change them. You can also download a layer height or speed or word settings if you need it. And from the upper version, you can see the toolbar, and this is for you to navigate your models.
So let's walk through how to import a 3D model into the slicer. So to import, you simply drag it. It's kind of simple. So let's try. So we have a model on the desktop, and we drag here, and we just click open, right?
Yes.
And then it's here. It's fairly simple. So we've imported a model, or you can click the file and import from your file folders. So there's another way, import. So after slicing, we export a G-code file, right? So we need to slice it now, right?
Yeah.
Now let's demonstrate how to import a 3D model into the slicer. It's fairly easy. We just drag the model into the slicer like this. You can see, and we can just click open here. And you can see it's a Rick and Morty cup. It's very cute, isn't it? So now, actually, before we slice the plate, we need to add support. And what a support is, you may ask, we'll cover it later. So here we just add support, and for this particular support, we'll add tree support. And then it's now ready to slice. Click slice the plate. Yeah, we can see, here's the model. The green part is the tree support, and the brown one actually is the model. And here we can drag it here to the left. You can see. So here's the model, and for this part, actually, we can see how the printer will print it layer by layer. Yeah, it's very straightforward. So now the model is ready to export. Then we click export a G-code file, and then we save it to the USB drive, and then we insert the USB drive into the 3D printer, and then we'll be ready to print. All right, and by the way, so apart from using a USB stick, you can also use the LAN printing, which means connecting your printer and your computer or your mobile device into the same Wi-Fi network for wireless printing.
As Frankie just mentioned, the Centauri Carbon supports Wi-Fi connection for LAN printing. First, go to network interface on the printer, connect to your Wi-Fi, and then know the IP address displayed on the screen. Make sure your computer and the print are on the same local network. Then open your browser, enter the printer's IP address, and access the backend management interface. From there, you can upload G-code file, monitor printing progress, and pause or stop prints. It's very convenient. So the next part is about how to use the ELEGOO slicer to remotely control your printing. So you can make sure your printer and the ELEGOO slicer is under the same Wi-Fi connection. Then you go to your ELEGOO slicer interface. You can see the Wi-Fi icon here, and then you click it, and then you should input your IP address on the printer. Then you can click browse. Then you can remotely control your printing. Yeah.
Right. So before we start the first print, there are a few steps you need to follow. So we can watch a video which will show you the process.
after the printer has done the self-check, and we will need to load the filament, starting by inserting one end of the filament into the filament sensor and push it into the tube.
Until it reach, the extruder gear, or if you feel like it can't go any further, so that's the right place.
Okay. And once loaded, and click the load button on the screen and check if the nozzle is starting extruding the material. This ensures the filament is properly fed and ready for printing. So let's move on to the next step.
Right. So when we set the nozzle temperature to match your filament, for example, it will be like 220 degrees Celsius for PLA. And we wait for the temperature to reach the set value, and then we click the extrude button until filament starts coming out of the nozzle. And if the filament, just in case, is not coming out, we just click again. And let's assume if we've already exported the G-code file into the USB drive and we inserted the USB into the printer. And next, we click the folder button to select a model for printing. And you can choose from local storage, like our Centauri Carbon has local storage, or you use the USB drive. And you can long press to import files from your USB drive to local storage for easier access. And it's also important to ensure that the build plate is level, but usually it's okay because you've done the printer's self-check and then the auto leveling is already done.
So after clicking the model, the print will start. Once your print is complete and the model has cooled down, it's time to remove it. Detach the flexible build plate along with the model from the printer. Gently bend the plate to release the model. Just be careful not to overbend it, as this could deform the plate. Your first print is ready, and in case where we added the supports on the models, we will need to remove the supports.
Right, so let's go over how to replace the filament. So first, we adjust the nozzle temperature to match the type of filament we're printing. So it's 250 degrees Celsius by default. And then we click unload under the extruder option and wait for the machine to remove the old filament. And once unloading is complete, remove the old filament from the tube and insert a new one. So load the new filaments by following the same steps we just mentioned earlier, and that's it.
Now, let's wrap up with some tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your ELEGOO FDM printer. First is the first layer. The first layer is crucial for a successful print. It sets the foundation for the entire model. If the automatic leveling isn't perfect, you can manually adjust the offset during printing to improve the first layer. But usually you don't need to, as the auto leveling will do the job. Here is a quick guide aimed for a proper distance between the nozzle and the bed. If it's too far, the filament won't stick well. If it's too close, the nozzle can scratch the bed. A well-tuned first layer issues a smooth and successful print.
Yeah, you can see on the slides, too close, too far, and also the perfect first layer is in the middle.
Yes.
Right, so here's comes to the support we just mentioned. So when printing models with significant overhangs or bridges, adding supports is essential to prevent collapses and print failures. So you may ask, what is overhangs? And overhangs are part of the model that extends outward at an angle, like the letter Y. Like you can see on the slide, the Mickey Mouse, the hand, the arms of the Mickey Mouse, that's our overhangs. And also bridges are horizontal sections that span gaps like the letter H. So without supports, these sections can sag or fail entirely. And there are two main types of supports, like the tree support and the normal support. You can see on the slide. Yeah. And tree supports are great for complex shapes and use less material, while normal supports are more straightforward and work well for simpler overhangs. And choose the right support type based on your model's needs to ensure a successful print. And we can demonstrate a little bit how to remove the supports.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just use your hand because it will be very easy to remove the supports. And sometimes we may use a plier, right? Like
this is
flush cutter.
Plier.
Yeah, a flush cutter plier to remove it. But it won't be very difficult.
So here we talk about another important term in 3D printing, spaghetti. It happens when parts of the model don't stick properly and detach from the heated bed. Spaghetti gets its name because when parts of the model detach from the bed, the printer keeps extruding filament in the air, creating a mess that looks like spaghetti. To fix this, we need to watch the first layer closely. If the adhesion is weak, adjust the offset. Set the bed temperature to 60 degrees. For PLA, keep the PEI sheet clean and consider using 3D printing glue or for extra adhesion. These steps will help you avoid messy prints. And this is a picture when I was printing some accessory for my headphone and the adhesion is not in a proper position, so it failed.
Yeah, that looks really like spaghetti. Maybe times like you have trouble removing support from a certain model, and our slicing software actually can let you add a support blocker and preventing auto supports in specific zones. Like for example, for this cat model, I think we can show the slicer, right? And for example, we use this cat model.
Yeah.
So you can see its body. You know, we need support for its tail because it's an overhang. But if we add support to its body, this part, it will be very difficult to remove, you know, the support after the print. So we just right click.
Let me choose the model. Yeah.
And we add a support blocker. And for this model, we can add a cube.
Okay.
And we just basically do this. Expand.
Red one. Yeah.
Like, yeah. So like for so by doing this, we can add a support blocker for this particular zone, and we can adjust its size to, you know, shield the delicate details. And by this way, it will make our post-processing much easier, and it will keep your prints cleaner.
Here is a tip about how to store filament. You need to keep the filament dry, and if the filament gets damp, they will ruin the print quality or clog your nozzle. Use airtight containers or vacuum-sealed bags to lock out humidity. A filament dry box is great for long-term storage, but if you don't have one, a sealed container works too. Please also keep screen from away the direct sunlight and heat. And if filament gets damp, re-dry it with a filament dryer or a low-temperature oven before printing. For PLA, it will be 50 degrees. Proper storage means better prints every time. Then Frankie will talk about how to improve build plate adhesion.
So there may be times when you struggle with build plate adhesion, and over time, you know, the surface of the build plate can lose their grip and leading to print failures. And to fix this, apply a thin layer of solid glue or use platform adhesive spray. You can just search online. There, you know, it's very easy to buy. And to improve the first layer adhesion. Or if the issue continues, you can consider buying a new plate. A secure first layer means a successful print every time.
And here is the tips how to save time-lapse video on the Centauri Carbon. So Centauri Carbon supports time-lapse for you to capture the printing process and share with your family or friends. After selecting the model, tap the time-lapse button to start recording. Once printing is done, insert a USB drive and go to setting, camera, print file, select your print, and then download the clip. It's a great way to showcase your 3D printing process. And also you can see from the image, you can also use the ELEGOO slicer to save your time-lapse video. Also keep in mind, the Centauri Carbon automatically deletes the oldest time-lapse video when storage exceeds 200 megabytes. So be sure to save your clips properly. And don't worry, 200 megabytes can store quite a few clips, so you will have plenty of storage. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you enjoyed this workshop and learned something new about 3D printing. And also your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. So please share your experience to us or in the group chat. It helps us improve. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, or TikTok, or visit our website for more updates and tips. And happy printing.
Yeah, and if you have like further questions or need assistance, you can feel free to chat with us in the chat group. And thanks again. Happy printing.
Yeah.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.